There we go. We're live. Good morning, Dr. Spear. Thanks for taking more time again today. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I'm late and I feel really poor, like a sore throat, I think it's important to review the concept of persevere, always push through. So
Yeah,
thank you for
let's
being patient.
of course. What's going on? You said you got a sore throat. Sounds like a little runny
Yeah,
nose.
sure, probably sore throat. Just a toddler sick.
Did you get it from your toddler or just as
Likely.
a little toddler sick?
Yeah, I just push it to the point that you'll find that you'll have commitments, something like this where I wanted to help you. And it's
Yeah.
so easy to just back out or not go or not show up, even when you don't feel 100 or 120%. So I'll still give you high energy, high enthusiasm, and help however I can. Just want to review the topic of kind of like it's never a perfect time to do anything, but you just do it.
That's a great point too, and I have a question for you on that topic. But that being said, we're doing these. This is the earliest podcast I've ever done. I've never done a podcast before at 7 a.m., 7:30. I
Dude,
think it's
this
such
is
a great
weak in
chat.
my opinion. We could be doing it even earlier. Dude, I don't want to
This
go
is
over to
weak.
my thing. Seriously, you don't understand what time is. And when you do, you'll start to realize, wow, what was I doing with my time?
I'm
You
learning.
only live life once.
That is
But
true.
you got to realize my view is probably extreme.
Wait, your view is what?
Extreme.
Oh, well, I mean, what would be early for you then? Because hey, you picked this
There is
time.
no early. You're just arbitrarily choosing a defined thing based on cultural norms. Time is a made up thing you've just accepted. It's your sleep cadence.
That's
You should
true.
just get a certain number of hours to wake up. I don't know why you're labeling it as early. These are just cultural norms. It's what
That's
sheep
true.
do.
That is true. That is true.
No,
What?
seriously, own the day. Don't let the day own you. You decide it. You know what I'm saying? It's not early. You just as long as you got enough sleep where you feel recovered, rejuvenated, you
Hmm,
get going, seize the day. If not, it's not probably worth waking up.
that's true. That's true. What time did you get up? I'm curious. What time do you usually
So
get
I
up?
was I was sick, so like I didn't sleep well. I don't know. I was up at 4. I wanted to get out. I didn't. My dog was there. He was itching some rash. We're going on a road trip, so I just kind of meandered downstairs to get this scooter and bike ready and kind of laid back in bed, knowing that I needed to leave earlier for us to do this. And I felt terrible. I was just trying to push myself to get up and go. It's one of those mornings.
You said a
I
road
took,
trip.
I
Road trips
basically
today or
just,
this weekend?
yeah, I'm just trying to tell you that we're all human. The purpose of me sharing this is to be vulnerable, to let you know I'm not perfect and I'm sorry that I was a moment late. I just felt
What?
poor.
I got all
And
day.
it's important to just push through.
Don't worry about it. I got all day. I'm not concerned. I could do this. I got all day
Let's
free.
dive in. The goal of this is
Yeah.
not to waste any time. So
No, 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 no,
let's
no.
look.
No time
What can
wasted.
we do to help?
Are you
Let's
are
look.
you working today or you're not working today?
Yes, of course.
Of course you're working today.
Yes.
I
I
had a
just
quick
started
question
my career. I'm young and hungry. I want to work.
and a quick question on having a cold and stuff. What was the worst sickness you had during residency, but still had to go to work?
I don't know. It's probably something like this, like a cold or sickness. I never really had a, yeah, for sure. I never like vomited and stayed there, you know? I don't think I'd push that hard. If I felt terrible, I'd stay at home.
Yeah. The vomiting is tough, and then
I didn't have a kid yet, so I didn't have routine, like, these rough feelings.
oh, gotcha. Did you? I mean, in COVID, they would make us stay home, but everything else we had to come in for. Obviously, the vomiting. That's you got to
The
stay home with
most
that.
sick I probably felt was when I had COVID for sure. But I stayed home.
You did stay home, yeah,
I was
yeah.
supposed to be on call that day though. I just remember, oh my God. No one's gonna believe
Oh,
me that I'm this sick on the day I'm supposed to be on call.
right. They're gonna be like, "Oh, what a coincidence! You got COVID on the day
Yes,
you're on call,"
I know.
and then they have to switch up the call with other things. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So let's hop into it.
Yeah, this
I
brings me joy to unpack and give value that if people were mentally ready for it, it will change their trajectory.
Oh
That's
yeah. I
that's my
told you.
purpose of doing this.
I'm pulling up our little game plan here because yeah, the second residency, learning business after medicine. Yeah, we were talking about how taking that same kind of energy, that same focus, that same discipline for board studying, others studying just residency hours in general, and then carrying that into practice. Looks like we were kind of touching on this last time, but the hours that they're really like 9 to 5, I'm trying to push it to 8 to 5. How would you kind of, because it sounds like some of the staff, they have to leave early to pick up their kids from daycare. It sounds like they're coming earlier, but how do you kind of convince or work around with families? I guess it's just doing that, working around with the families of staff, the team of the office to like, hey, can you stay later on this day or that day? Do you do that at all?
No,
No.
I think to cut right to the point, you're overthinking things that aren't moving the needle. I think your staff should be happy. So if they have families, get them to their families.
Yeah.
Keeping staff is better than turnover, so you can be there to see one extra patient and take out one extra stupid tooth. That's not
Mm.
moving the needle. But you want them to be there, invested in, showing them happy, culture good. For you, for the concept of the second residency, I would challenge you and say, fuck, why aren't people doing this in residency? Why are you waiting to do another residency? You know?
Oh, I mean, it was just like a concept
I
of like
know, I know, but
treating
I'm
Christ.
challenging
Yeah.
the status quo of saying, why are you waiting till after? And then you think to yourself, why aren't they teaching it inside? Oh my God. So that's a failure. But they don't teach in traditional education either. So it could be improved. So I would say the second residency, though, if you were to do it, I think it's a good way, a good lens to look at a learning opportunity.
Mm, mm.
And I think just like ours, it's kind of never ending. It's not like you learn this and you're done. And when you have that mindset, then you've just plateaued.
Right.
So, there's it's a evolving dynamic thing learning about business, and every few years with administrations, things change. And
Mm.
every probably week I'm learning something new, if not day. I have homework. I give myself homework every single day. I'm doing homework
What was
every
your
day.
homework this week? What was the recent one? Yesterday, today?
Peter Thiel's his thesis of how he developed things, how he did a self-custodialized Roth instead of a traditional Roth, and how he used private shares held within that. A concept that will blow anyone's mind. But the concept is, you'll go through all of this learning, right? Daily, you got to read. You're forced, like, oh God, it's terrible. Oh God, I got to do all this because you may not want to. And then you get out, and then, like, most of my friends aren't probably reading or trying to learn every day. They're like, oh, I did my time. I'm so happy to be done. I'm just gonna. And the question is, why did you stop learning? So it's not that
Great
you need
question.
to. Everyone's cadence of life and goals and what they want to do is their own, and that's perfect and great. But the question I challenge is, where did that desire to learn an educational drive stop? And
Mm.
let's say you did learn one new thing a day, one new thing, or connected with three new people via a text. Oh my God, 200 days? That's 600 people you just connected with that you missed out on. Well, that's 200 new things you scratched the surface on. Of those 200 new things, maybe 10%, 20 of them you deep dived and fully understood, where somebody did not. You do that over 5 years, you got hundreds and thousands of contacts. That's crazy.
Where do you learn right now? Is it reading? Is it textbooks? Is it podcasts, YouTube? I'm
Oh,
curious. Where do you find do you have any predominant sources?
I just, what's it called? Twitter or X? What do you call it? X? Yeah.
Oh,
So
sure. Yeah.
I
I
just go
use
on
it.
there and then I go on the AI thing and then I just have like a conversation and I just kind of go down this super deep rabbit hole, really deep until I
Grok.
fall asleep every single night.
That's what you're using.
I guess so. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
new
so
to it.
you chat with it to learn. I use both Grok and ChatGPT. I like to see if there's any differences between them, and many
Sure.
times there are. So you do it right before you fall asleep at night. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I have like an hour, hour and a half homework nonstop. I pass out, my laptop's open. I mean, sure, I should be going to bed earlier, perhaps, but I'm not staying up all night. Probably hit this latest I'm asleep is like 10, maybe 9:45.
That
But
early?
yes, I get up at 5.
What time are you in bed by? Like nine
Dude,
o'clock?
nothing. What greatness happens in your life after 8 p.m.? Like, name something phenomenal that happens after 8 or 9 p.m. other than drinking, things that kill you, risk being outside.
Drinking is pretty phenomenal sometimes.
I'm, and my biased, crazy lens, my thesis on life is nothing really great happens that late. I'd rather be asleep and get my day going. I'd rather
I
be
do agree
fully
with that.
rested for my business, and then when I come home, be full energy for my family. My kid goes down, 8 to 8:30. I get an hour to myself,
Yeah.
and I just use that time to lean in, to learn into deep rabbit holes of like things that if I asked normal people, they wouldn't know. And it's nice that this has some access to be able to pull data. And I take it all with a grain of salt. Not saying I know everything, or this is just my scratching the surface of what did I learn today.
Absolutely. I love that. It's funny that you mentioned that before you go to sleep because that is a nice quiet hour. You said after your kid goes to sleep. What about your wife? Does she do any learning? Does you
Yeah,
chat
so
with
she'll
her?
listen to like a podcast as she falls asleep.
She listens to podcasts. Yeah. 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 Oh, that's great. That's great. I find Grok is so helpful too. And dude, it's expanding every day. It's getting so much better. That's a great way to learn
I would say the amount that I've learned in the last 6 months is more than I've learned in 10 years.
from using like the
Yeah.
AI sources.
Hmm.
I,
But you also have to say that's a biased response on my end. I wasn't searching or wanting to consume this information. It wasn't as relevant to my life. So I'll take it with that with a grain of salt. I guess the take home point is the second residency after learning, after your first residency, is just if you put that same amount of energy towards it, you can learn at the same rate. That's all. And the AI helps.
AI helps tremendously. Yeah, I've been loving that too. Yeah, next, yeah, let's hop into the next one. Also are you? So that's not like necessarily learning about oral surgery things. The Peter Thiel is you said shares and stuff.
for sure, for sure.
What was that about? If I can know.
So his story is you have different retirement accounts. Different retirement accounts either tax deferred or tax free, and a Roth is a tax free vehicle. And there's a way, if you're self custodialized, there's a way to have a Roth.
Mhm.
And his story was he owned a portion of PayPal, private shares, I think it was, through that Roth. So if you own a portion of a company, not more than 50% less, it has to be structured appropriately. You can own them through the Roth. Therefore, when the value of the company goes up, let's say to his case was hundreds of millions, whatever, it's in his Roth. So if he sells it, there's no tax consequence. So he paid zero taxes.
Wow.
And then he put that money as a seed investment to Facebook, and then it became billions. Zero tax. So then you
Isn't
say,
there a cap
well,
on the Roth though?
yeah, so you're looking at it through a traditional lens. So that's why I'll say my advice for you is to go down the rabbit hole yourself, and I'll be happy
Sure.
to tell you what I have found. But the take home point is there are other vehicles in a different lens with specific ways things are structured that could be very advantageous if anyone was made aware of them, which none of us are made aware of. And then you have to ask yourself, probably the PE groups that are acquiring and consolidating these groups,
Yep.
some of them are likely doing these things that we're likely unaware of.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Interesting though.
Yeah.
It's wild because it will be a tax consequence. Well, I'm just learning. I have a child. I set up his Roth. I'm leaning into it. I'm learning. But you were right. A traditional way, you make a certain amount. You can't do so much. You can back to a Roth 7 or 8K, but that's pennies. But yes,
Yeah. Yeah. I got to find out the real. I will go down that rabbit
I
hole.
would just say learn his story. It'll be something interesting to discuss. The Google Grok or whatever will fill you in really quickly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's a great idea. And I do, yeah, I use those too. Another reference just for you, for listeners, open evidence. See how this is like my main screen. I got my to-do list, but then Grok, ChatGPT, and then open evidence, I'm sorry, is another one. One of my pathologist friends said that that's good for like deep dives into the literature. It's an AI, just throwing that out there in case you wanted to,
No,
if you're
that's great.
studying for topics and stuff. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Grok and ChatGPT because they give
Dude, I've
different.
loved it. I've just loved having this conversation, man. Oh my God. I loved it. I've found a lot of joy because I've been able to talk to somebody who knows a ton, can pull data really fast, extrapolate data, predict different things, play around with it. It's been really fun. Spring, I've enjoyed that more than watching sports. Let's put it that way. I had a lot of fun.
That's funny, but I've been doing that too. And then you could sometimes doom scroll. They call it. You just keep scrolling it, especially on Twitter and X. But
Yeah, for sure.
so one question another question I wanted to ask you. In kind of we touched on it last time, changing the was it the W-2 W-3 into a 1099. But I wanted, so we went into that a bit. I wanted to ask you about setting like a side. Would it be a side LLC or LLP or PC? And is it
Whatever.
possible?
Sure.
Yeah, whatever it would be, but having the office pay that before it pays like me directly, so that it's kind of in a side. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Where it's like a
I
consulting.
would stop you there and just
No,
say, what are your goals? What's the goal of this?
the goal of this would be to kind of separate myself from the money that I'd be paid by in the practice, so I could kind of make some tax deductions that way if possible. I guess it would be like
So
a
I think you need
consultant.
to be more simple. I want to pay less taxes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, dude, I mean,
Yeah,
we all
okay.
want to pay less taxes,
All
right?
right. Well, I didn't know. You're trying to set out. So, like, that's the goal.
Oh,
If
sure,
that's
sure, sure.
so, if the goal is to pay less taxes, first, you got to make sure the person you're working with is okay with the structure. And then if it's a no, that's not even worth your energy.
True. Okay. Okay.
I won't even
So I have
waste
to.
time.
Yeah.
He
Do
has
you
an
do
existing model. So you're not going to rock his boat
right?
unless he finds you that valuable.
Do you do anything like that, or I mean, it's
No,
your practice, so
I'm pretty square. I pay a lot of taxes. I'm square. My
because
wife does though. So the way my wife's with her group, she's 1099. So through a tax deferral 401k plan where you don't have other employees, there's no discrimination issues. So you could, tax defer, meaning you may have tax consequence at some point in life, 60-ish, whatever you do it, whatever. That money won't be hit through tax. It can be put into this K IRA. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing. You still have to pay your own self-employment tax. So that's painful. So from a 1099 approach, you'll have a higher tax basis from there, but you could shield more from taxes from a tax deferral standpoint through your own kind of Roth. Not Roth. Well, sure, you could do a Roth, but you got to pay tax on it through your own and whatever you call it, that lump sum of things. Qualified plans, I guess you could say. And sure, you could write off your car. You could do the fringe benefits of owning a business.
mm.
And that's a gray area of however extreme you want to go.
How do you go? How extreme do you go?
On that, well, again, I'm square through mine. So
And when you say square, can you kind of like
I'm
just
just
describe?
W-2. So like I pay myself an ordinary income and then I'll
Mm.
do like a draw randomly every month. I don't have a great reason for it. Just kind of look at a number and say if it's over that number, I move it over.
What do you mean? What does that mean? Like a draw? I'm sorry to I just breaking this down because I really don't know anything about it. You're saying you take out one. What's that number? The number is like how much you need per month, or it's just what
No,
you
I don't
want.
need any of that money. The goal is I arbitrarily choose a number. I'm not giving you an objective answer here. I think the important thing for you to realize is
Yeah.
when you own, you can choose to pay yourself a certain ordinary or nominal amount. And then at the end of a quarter or after end of a month or at the end of a year, you can choose to take the profit and do whatever you want with it. So all I'm
Mm.
saying is at the end of a given month, I will just move over a certain amount and I still leave some profit in the pot.
Got it.
That's all. And that action is called a draw or a distribution, which is taxed at the highest
The
tax
highest
burden.
level.
So it's awful. So if you could, before that number's there, put some towards your, tax deferred things like investment things, that's helpful. Buy some implants, tax deduction, those things.
Got it. So you're
Yeah.
you're moving all those things, and then after
Yeah.
that, or
Mine's
first you're
classic.
taking it when you need, and then
Mine's classic. There's nothing
yeah.
crazy. Mine is just a routine thing. But for you, it'd be different because it'd be a different situation where you're with a different company and you don't have a vested interest or ownership yet. So
Mm,
if you 1099, you'll have all the eligibilities, the fringe benefits of an ownership. You have to pay your own self-employment tax. But if you have enough capital, your ability to contribute to your own retirement plan will have no ceiling. Your ceiling will be 23, whatever, at that other place.
got it. Got it. Okay. I haven't checked in to see if it will be a 1099 or W-2 in the practice yet, so I'll
Yeah.
have.
So before you
Yeah.
mentally go nuts on it, I think it's important to rabbit hole it. But
Yeah.
practically speaking, for your time's sake, I'll just ask him if he's open to it. And
Yeah.
here's a great line. I would put it this way: would you be opposed? So if you want to get what you want, it's easier to get a yes when you ask somebody, would you be opposed to this?
Yeah.
Most times people won't say I'm opposed to that. But maybe he is. If they've been doing something for like 5, 10 years and you come in, they may say, why do you want to do that? And then you could give them an astute answer and say, well, I read and I could put more money away for retirement and not be capped.
Mm,
But when you buy in at some point, if you buy in, you won't be able to do this because you'll
right.
be a part of their ownership and they have their own 401k structure and it'll be muddied.
I see. I see. In the structure. Yeah. 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 Got it. You don't have any partners? Do you have anyone working for you?
Yeah. One associate, 4 days, and then one part time, one day.
One part time, one day. Okay. So I thought, how many shares did you have? I thought you had
Not many, like 5.
and just the one office, right? Okay. Because I remember you were saying that you were doing something with other offices as far as like going there and
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to help my friend out. It's questionable at best, but I'm trying to help him. He has a few offices. He's like my best buddy. So I said,
so
I'll do
and
some cases there.
gotcha. And then your associates, they're Monday through Friday, and then you're Monday through Friday.
Yeah. Wednesday,
Got
half
it.
day.
You never do weekends.
Yeah, I'll do once every other month. I'll do a Saturday from like 6:30 to 10:30.
Easy, not too bad. Not too bad.
Super easy.
Do you usually start at 6:30 in the mornings in the week
No,
too? No. That,
just on those days. Everyone has kids. Everyone wants to go home to their families. So we kind of
yeah,
all agreed. Let's get going. Get home to our families.
that's an early day. Yeah. Oh, I like that. So one of the things we talked about last time was the first year, or at least after board or during studying for boards, and then after the first year or two, you said focus on the surgery, focus on the procedures, focus on.
Yeah, your biggest ROI is your surgical skill. So even knowing all these entity things, these are fringe things. It's surgical skill. The sooner you can become a confident surgeon, we don't need anyone around you. You're free.
Yeah.
In the interim, you're kind of latching, leaning on, trying to get some advice. How do you do this or that? The moment where you get to that moment, you're free. But until then, you're just trying to, ride on the coattails of giants, trying to figure things out and, get going. But you got to realize the sooner you get to that moment, you're free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, you could go in and do anything. You're good. So your ROI will be, that's your greatest ROI is your surgical skill for your chair time. You wanting to debate moving the schedule around, that's peanuts. You got to imagine if you could do an immediate implant in there in like 11 or 12 minutes
Yeah.
versus,
Yeah.
well, I want to fit in one patient at the end of a day in case there's an emergency. No, you got to be a killer at your craft.
Yeah. Yeah. The craft, the trade. I 100%
100%. The sooner
wisdom
you can
teeth,
get there, the
sedations,
better.
implants. Yeah.
And it takes
Yeah.
forever. My first 6 months, I really didn't do much. I really
Yeah.
didn't. Getting credentialed, there's not that much to do. I didn't
Yeah.
know what to look for because I hadn't gone through there and struggled at that point yet. So it took me like a year and a half.
Year and a half. Yeah, the credentialing. I am submitting that today. Actually, yeah, I got to submit all
Yeah,
those things
it's
to
painful.
Relation. Sure.
So it's part of the course. I just want to reiterate, it's very easy to get distracted. So I'm just trying to help keep you focused.
Yeah, yeah, and thank you for that. Today I'm doing that. I'm submitting those things. I still got to like move in all my stuff to my house, and I don't start work until mid-August anyway. But that's why I think it's
Smart. There's no
super.
rush because of credentialing. No rush. You're going to miss wisdom tooth season, which is totally fine. And that's how it should be. We don't know why we start new grads in August. They should all start September and get fully credentialed.
It's probably going to look like September anyway. At least
Yeah,
from the chiefs before me,
for
they
sure.
said in New York
It's
State.
hilarious that like this isn't a thing, but we keep pushing. It makes no sense. If you actually looked retrospectively at time of how credentialing works and when people graduate, why the fuck would it not be a standard to just come after the summer? Like, what are the
Yeah,
odds you're gonna be credentialed in time? You have to get your certificate in time after it given to those companies. Like, it's not practical. It's just it's not in your it's yeah, it doesn't move the needle for your quality of life really. So it's just interesting that we're always rushing to do it because we've had such delay in not working. But and looking back at it, I'll just tell other people there's no rush.
right. All right. And then yeah, once September, is it true September is the slowest month of the year?
I guess so. It depends on how you plan. So nobody taught me how to plan, but like theoretically, consoles coming in now, wisdom teeth, I should try to do them. Consoles coming in for implants, I should try to push them to September. So if you're strategic about how you schedule, you'll have things to look forward to more in September as the
Mm,
wisdom teeth drop off. That's theoretics. I've only done a loop and a half, so I'm not like a veteran at this, but this is just my empiric thoughts.
yeah. For this year, are you doing that?
No, practice what you preach. But summer just started. But I think as like July and August comes closer, I'll do that. It's hard for me to say, yeah, I'll do your implant 3 months. It takes me like 8 minutes. Why would I wait 3 months?
Oh,
What are
wait,
we
wait, wait,
doing?
wait. Yeah, yeah. We'll be doing
So
stage two
it's
over there.
it's practical. So we'll
That
see.
yeah.
That's a good thought though. When July
So
and August comes, if it was like a
yeah.
bigger case, a GBR, it doesn't need to happen right now to
Hmm.
consider doing that.
In your first year and a half, you were saying, what were some of the procedures you've been trying to work on? Speed, comfort. It's going to be personal for everyone
I'm
because
gonna
it's a
tell you
little
this: I
different.
was never rushing on speed. My goal was just to be able to be independent.
And what do you mean by independent? Like not having another person to rely on, not but you do have another person in the office every day of the week, right?
Yeah, just being able to be proficient, purposeful movements, not putzing around. Everything I grab is for a reason. Everything I do is for a reason. Not
Yeah.
having to look twice, three times, just look and go.
Yep.
Getting away from moving from that hesitance, just go, just being on it, being confident, comfortable with the patient, owning
Yep.
the environment, knowing where to lean them, just being fucking dialed in.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the, of course, a lot of this stuff.
And then the areas like, when I first used Strama, there was some BL implants, really torqued really hard. That little blue thing broke off. And that was really painful trying to figure out how to do that. Many times no one was there to show me how to do it. I'd figure out, poke that thing out of the torque wrench, push it down. So, it was phenomenal to have pain points. So I think I will empower you to realize it's good to have pain. Pain is good, as Jocko would say. Like, it's good. If you learn from that adversity, the more pain points you have earlier on, and you learn
Yeah.
from them, God, they're going to be great. You just have to hit them.
Got to hit them and figure out. Yeah, that's how you develop the self awareness is those pain points. Also,
100%.
are your associates older or same age,
Yeah, they're
younger?
older. They're like 16, 70 or something. 16, 70.
How did you seal that deal that you have older gentlemen oral surgeons working for you?
Well, there's a lot of people who are older right now trying to retire. There's a lot of people like you graduating who don't want to buy a practice. So somebody who wants
I'm
to,
trying to retire,
no, but you know what I'm saying. So the opportunity is there to find a motivated seller. Period.
but he's one of them is he or she is 4 days a week. That's I guess it's better than five. Is that what why they did
Yeah.
that?
No, at some point, man, how much money do you want?
Yeah, yeah. So
She's
they
a
made it
female
all
doctor. She wants to be a mom. Her kids are out of the house now, but
empty nester.
at some
Yeah,
point, like I probably won't be doing this. I won't be going at this pace. This is just like out the gate. I'll
is
dial it in
she?
for sure.
Yeah,
Like at some point, like you got to realize you only live life once. This is your life. That's it. That's it. That's it. And I could end tomorrow. Like that's it. You really
yeah.
want to stay an extra hour or be with your family? When you die, who's going to be there? You think your staff will be there? Maybe. For sure, your
Right.
family will be. So, in the beginning, it's normal to be young and hungry. Sure, maybe I'm writing that passage, but it's important to reflect on like, I think it really depends on your goal. This is a biased opinion. I'm catching myself giving too much info. I think what I'm trying to get at here is it depends on your goals. I think my goal will be to lean into more family and not go at this cadence in the next year. I'll probably give this one more loop.
Good. This case one more, and then when you say this, what would be the difference between this year and that year next year?
I'll probably cut down a Friday afternoon and do half day Friday.
So then half days Wednesday, half days Friday, and then 3 full days Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. You're saying.
Something like that.
And what's your full day? What's a full day for your schedule?
I don't know. 7:30, 3:30, 7:30, 4.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
However many patients want something done. That's something I never say no. We go.
And your staff is cool. They're all cool with it. How do you get them to buy on board? Because if they're getting paid like a fixed salary, they're getting a fixed sum per hour. How do you kind of get them to stay on board for like another hour or two in a day?
Well, I'm not
You know?
taking an hour to do that procedure.
Oh, not the one procedure, but say you usually end
I'm
at
not
say three
adding it in a
thirty.
multi. If I'm adding something in, it's going to be something within like 8 to 10 minutes at most.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
It's immediate implant, maybe like 15 to 20, because we're taking some like scans to get a temporary tooth and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I
also,
thought
you got to
maybe.
realize it's the moment. You're there to help somebody when they're in need, and it's
Hmm.
really gratifying. There's like two things for me that I do that improve quality of lives. It's the front tooth, or a full arch, or a locator for
Yeah.
somebody with a mandibular denture that fits poorly, where they're disappointed. That really changes their quality of life.
Mhm.
But yeah, for sure, scheduling appropriately so you're not keeping people late is important. You will keep people late as you start. Welcome to being human, that you become more proficient.
Hmm.
Percent.
That's what I'm trying to work on. Yeah, because I want to add on procedures. I want to add on. There's going to be days that you stay late. Something goes wrong. The case takes another 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah. Don't feel bad about it too. Just make sure you're learning. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of the procedures you say to focus on in that first year when you're dialed in, you're locked in?
So for me, it was just being open minded. Just watch other surgeons how they do things. How do
Mm,
they do their cuts, their troughs? How do they do this? And then just like be super sponge like. Why do they do that? Don't even ask. Just like look, and then try it. And then for the implants, just gonna watch how they do it. Just gonna lean over. What instruments are they using? How are they telling the assistant to hold something? All of that matters. You
right.
don't realize that. You're just like kind of looking around. That's what matters. Like those are the important things to look at. And how long does it take them? And then assess yourself. Am I taking that long or not? They've been doing this for more time. That's about it. I mean, we don't do that many procedures. So just taking out teeth and doing some implants. The bone graft part isn't too crazy, but if they're doing a large bone graft with attack, how do they do that? With the
Mm,
periosteal scoring.
right,
Yeah,
right, right.
just be a sponge. I used to put my hands behind my back and I'd lean over and just look, even if I already knew how to do it, and pretend to be genuinely interested. And I look back and I'm thinking, thank God I did that.
Was that in residency or now in practice?
It was there. When I first started those Wednesdays, I didn't work those Wednesdays. I would just shadow. I would just watch them because I knew there's so much value.
Oh.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a ton of value of just watching.
you were taking a day to just shadow and learn from other surgeons. Was it in?
The
Yeah.
ROI of that's like to me was over. I chopped it off at over 150 to 200K for sure. To bring your learning curve down a few years. God, let's say you want to be somewhere in 7 years. Man, if you could get there in a year and a half or two, think of the ROI that is.
Yeah, yeah. Inch up that time. I see what you're saying. Learn it now.
That's
It'll
a
bring down
great
the income.
extrapolation, but the
Yeah,
the whole idea was time boxing learning. So that's
right.
how I viewed it. But
I
sure,
like that
there's
a
many
lot.
points I was thinking, God damn, this is painful. Damn, why am I doing this? But I can tell you right now, thank God I did that.
Yeah, so you took a full day and did that. Huh.
Yeah.
I never
And I
thought of
wasn't
that.
working and I was watching other people working, making money. I'm thinking, what am I doing? It's the right thing to do, man.
Were
More
you
pain,
driving
as Jocko
around?
would say, good.
Yeah, yeah. Were you driving around to other offices, or was always all surgeons in your office that you were learning from?
Just there. But if you have that access, that works.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the take home point is just like the first point, just continue to learn. So your learning should be more like surgical skill, more so all that business stuff at first.
Yeah,
And then once surgical skill is maxed, lean into all that other stuff.
I see. Oh, that's a really good focus switch. Yeah. So don't stop worrying about the LC, the 1099
Yeah,
versus
that's a
1082.
joke. It's an absolute joke. First, you have to ask him if he's open to it. If not, you're wasting every energy of moment you've thought about it.
Right, right.
He has to
We
be
we
open
have
to it.
we have the a side LLC because we're doing the marketing for the practice anyway. But I don't. It's not all me necessarily. It's like I offload we got a team that we work with. So
So he's going to pay your company for marketing efforts.
he has been. Yeah, we've been doing it for a little over a year, 15 months.
Interesting. Are you the sole owner of that LLC?
Partner now.
All right. So there's interesting things you could do with that, but that's an interesting thing because how you classify that K1 income through there is either ordinary, active, or passive.
Hmm.
That's something to think about at some point in life because you could structure it appropriately to have an operator in there and it could be qualified as passive in a
Hmm.
certain lens versus active. That's the next level situation, but it's nice that you have that as a K1 entity. That's nice.
That's something. Yeah, it's something I got to work on. It doesn't get enough income for. I'm not taking any profits. It's always dumped back into it until we can because
Okay.
we do website revision. We're doing the content marketing on several platforms for it, and then the last thing we're working on is implant patient leads, whether that be via Google PPCs or really trying to lean into Facebook because we can use the targeted, the target
Sure.
filters
Oh,
on
sure.
zip code, iPhone versus Android, Spanish speaking versus English speaking. You could do that,
Yeah,
and
I
we're
think it's
trying
a
to
good
hone
thing
into
to
it.
have. Just make sure the ROI is surgical skills, number one. but that's
Number
still
one.
solid because you
Oh,
have
this
to have
is all
patience in a chair.
right, 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 right. Oh, that's always going to be number one. And the practice takes predominantly all insurances, so they're pretty much taking all insurance.
Well, Jesus
So
Christ, you're gonna have a ton of patience.
there's going to be a ton of
Are you
patience.
kidding
Yeah,
me?
and I'm learning Spanish, so I could
For sure.
because that's what it is. It's the patient experience, like you said, maximizing chair time and the experience, and the patient
Yeah,
comfort,
for
and
sure. Chair time's number one. If you ask all PE groups why they're buying all this stuff, they just said they just optimize chair time.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
biggest ROI.
That's what they all say. Yeah, OMS 360s down towards your area. That's what they talk about all the time. Turning it into like a what is it, the pit crew, so that they just turn over the chairs quicker.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
there's no right or wrong. I could probably learn a ton from them for sure. I'm
of
still
course.
a naive new owner. Sometimes I'm the bug, sometimes I'm the windshield man.
I don't want to keep you too long. What time are you starting today?
Late. Let's go. I'm late for you. So let's do two more. Two more one-liners.
Sure, sure, sure. And just to summarize, that main objective is to obviously you said like keep patients in your chair. We're trying to go in and try and get more of those like implant patients to see if we could get them in the chair too using that target. But yeah, the next thing I guess I want to talk about. Do you do that was another thing I just thought about. OMS 360, they do sedations all day. Do you just do in the morning as well?
So I think it depends on your philosophy of how you treatment plan. If you treatment plan a lot of sedations, sure.
What's your philosophy?
I don't know. I'm a mixed bag. I don't think you need sedation for everything, but it's nice to do it for difficult things where they don't like the pressure.
Yeah.
So as I do this more, I may lean into doing more sedations just because I'm just getting tired of people who can't handle the pressure and you just know it. So I think it's more matured, older people may do more sedations. That's
Really?
just my biased 2 cents. I don't know. I'm a mixed bag. I kind of just inherited a system, and we do most of our wisdom teeth with sedations. I don't think I've maybe done one implant under sedation. All of my implants are local.
Mm. There was, that's a good thought. That was a quick thought. That was a quick one. Would you ever consider? Well, I mean, you're an owner now, so that I guess it doesn't make sense. Someone was telling me how some people consider like just stay an associate, but I don't know. Did you ever consider that, or you always wanted to do ownership and owner? Because you became an owner pretty fast too. Did you just buy this year, or was it last year?
So I bought it in residency.
That's right. We touched on it, but that was this practice. I thought that was another one in
No,
residency.
it's this one. Yeah. So I guess my conundrum was my wife made a solid income, and I said, "There's no way I'm going to make less than my wife." So that drove me to say I had to find something to yield me a greater return. And then if I told myself I would die unless I found something, I found something. That Eric Carlton, whatever that religious dude says, if somebody drowns you, the way you go up to gasp for air, if you put that perspective of fighting for your life to achieve your goal, it just depends how fucking badly you want it. So I wanted to have that, and then I got it. That's basically what it comes down to. What you focus on is what you get. Where you water, grass grows. So my goal at that point was that number, to find above it. What were the opportunities? When I found one that filled that void, I just executed. There's a plenty of motivated sellers of old people that don't really want to sell to a DSO. So you'll find one if you wanted one, and they're still out there. You just have to not wait for them to come to you, right? If you're going on a
Yeah,
broker account waiting for them to come to you, you don't want it fucking bad enough. You should be
yeah.
reaching out every day, 5 to 7 of them every single fucking day. Like if not, you don't want it bad enough.
You
So
were
it
doing
just
that during
depends if you
residency.
want it, you know?
You were doing that during residency.
Yeah, my second year of dental school or second year of residency, I reached out to 5 to 7 people every single day.
PGY2 of residency, and you did the 4 year, right?
I did that second year, third year, fourth year, for sure. I got to know all these different practice owners across the entire country.
And then you found that one, and man, is your wife in this area too? Where
Yeah,
you're?
she's in Kansas. So my story was just, it's small percent of people reply. So you just have to do high volume Gary Vee approach. You got to be nice and ask. And sometimes some people will reply. And then, there's in all industries, real estate, anything, any small business, there's a ton of older people right now who are ready to retire. And there's a lack of qualified individuals who are ready to own anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So
is that
that's
one of
why
the
the PE groups
associates?
are becoming a thing.
Yeah, because people want to get
Nobody
out,
wants to buy one.
and they want to take this. Yeah,
Well, no one wants to buy one. I mean, how many of your friends graduated said, "Yeah, I want to go buy a practice my first year"?
not the first year, but no, everyone does
Exactly.
want.
No one. So, and it's going to be less and less every year. So I guess what I'm saying is the opportunity is there to the one who wants to seek it.
Yeah,
So that was my lens. And it started with an objective basis of saying, I got to go above that number and realize if I was an associate, it was impossible. That's all.
hundred
And then
percent. Yeah,
I
dialed in.
realized, man, I kind of like this. I'm fascinated by it. It's more systems. I love systems. So then I just started learning.
You started looking at second year. When did you buy it?
I don't know, third year, maybe fourth year, fifth year, I guess.
Oh, so it took 3 years to find. That's about right. I mean, you did a heavy search and looking. And so you said in Kansas, obviously, but how far away is your wife's practice from your practice?
An hour.
And then do you live like towards in the middle or
No,
closer to the?
I drive an hour, which means we got to end this call in like 2 minutes.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I won't keep you too long. The last thing was the person you bought it from. Is that one of your two associates?
Yeah.
Very nice. The 4 day a week one? One day. Oh, wow. So they were ready to go on the way out. And then you learned a lot from them, that one person?
Yes. A ton.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess obvious question. All right, man. I'll let you go. Hey, thanks for coming on this morning.
I think the take home point to all of this is understanding time, and that if you want something bad enough, you'll get it. And if like you set a strange consequence, like you're going to drown to death unless you get it,
Mm, mm.
I think you're going to get it.
What's your next step right now? What's this year's goal? What's next that you want to
Uh,
get as bad as if you're drowning?
Reduce tax burden,
What was that? I couldn't hear it.
reduce tax basis or burden.
Oh, so that's kind of what we were talking about earlier, but I shouldn't be worrying about that yet. That's where
No,
you're at that step. I see. That makes sense. That makes complete sense. That's a distraction from my standpoint right now.
100%. Yes, when you start looking at things as distractions, not opportunities, and realizing
Mm,
your ROI surgical skill, you'll be like, wow, I get it.
got it. Got it. Surgical skill, focus, patient
Yeah,
experience, reputation. Do you utilize reviews at all? Are you focused on that? Is that a concern? Not at all.
but
No.
I should, but I don't. Failure. It's okay. I'm human. We're all, that's an area I need improvement on.
That might be an idea. It boosts your ranking on Google. So when they Google, I need wisdom teeth, I need a dental implant. That might help.
It will more than help. It'll be tremendous.
All right, man. I'll let you go. Dude, thanks so much again for coming on. This is a great part two.
Yeah.
This was a solid one.
I would just remember, like, here, I wrote some, my closing thought. Write your dream down. Write down a list of things on how you could accomplish it or things you would need to learn. And then don't sit there and think about it or worry. Just get going. Start doing. And realize it's okay to crawl, then walk, then jog, then sprint. So write it down and then get going. If you talk to me about all this and then don't do anything today, don't do anything tomorrow, think about it, worry about it, and don't take action, just realize there's still an opportunity to take action. But the best thing you could have done was just get going and not worry.
Right.
So a lot of times anxiety and fear of things are just for lack of doing things about it. So like for boards or studying, just get going. For understanding surgical skill, get going, go observe people if you're free time.
I like that. Observe people. Yeah. I'm going to talk about my now fiance. Since we spoke, actually, yeah, I got engaged. Actually, I'll
Congrats.
talk. Thank you. Just because the goal, I go over it with her and then together we could go bind our careers to make sure we hit that. So I'm going to do exactly what you said. I'm going to do it tonight, actually.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks. That made me happy because you're going to, be pushed to do something that the majority of the culture of the world doesn't push you and will say, hey, do you want to go watch this sports game and wear the same jersey as that person and not focus on your own goals, but then watch their goals go? You should focus on your goals.
Right. Amen to that.
All right.
All
See you.
right, Dr. Spear. Have a good
Bye.
night. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.